All right, I'd like to call to order the Webster Planning Board meeting for March 9th. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded. First action item is a draft meeting minutes from January 29th, 2026. Do you have any input on those, or?
We did get some input from Kathy. Number 1B has the wrong date at the end. It just needs to be corrected to 26
Okay,
instead of 23.
other than that, we're all set.
Everything looks good.
Motion to approve the minutes with that one correction.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second item is a draft decision. Let's come to this later,
Okay,
because we're not gonna be any input from the audience, right?
sure.
Next item is an endorsement of site plan, 5 Linwood Street, assessor ID 13-J-18-0. Planning board to approve and instruct staff to endorsement site plans on behalf of the planning board. 2 duplexes on 1 lot. All-Star Homes, applicant owner, site is located on a multiple family residential MFR zoning district.
All right, so they have submitted the plans. Everything that we request to be on the plans has been added. And I see no reason not to endorse them.
As I say, Chuck, everything all been addressed.
Actually, I don't think I looked at these. This, basically, I believe what they is, they added the condition of approval to the plans.
So it's like a long-term maintenance plan.
Yeah, I believe they had that on there before.
So you haven't had a chance.
No, but I don't think that there are any changes from this, from the last approved plans.
Okay, so it should be okay.
It should be, yeah. If Joey looked at it and it's got the approval conditions on it, it should be good.
Make a motion to approve the site plan for 5 Linwood Street.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Next item is a A&R for 0 Conkle Avenue, lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. James Magnet, owner applicant, 277 Ravenville Road, North Roversdale, Connecticut, assessor ID 44-A-6-0. Is that you?
Yeah, I'm here to represent Jason. My name's Brian Hill. I'm a professional land surveyor with Land Planning Incorporated, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have on this plan. Should be pretty straightforward. The lots all meet or exceed the minimum standards for the lots in the town of Webster under this zone.
All right, so here's the A&R plan. I just want to point out, because there has been some questions, people in the office. There is a local, if you see the polygon here, I can't really see very well, but here,
That's what
here, and along here, there's a CR that's very close by. But this is part of one contiguous lot here. We're just looking to A&R this section right here.
Okay.
And that's the A&R plan.
It meets all the 50 feet requirement and all that for the frontage. Wow.
See, are you meaning a resource area for conservation?
There's a conservation restriction on the adjacent lots.
Okay.
I show the buffer zone through so you can see where the 100-foot buffer zone is, more or less. About half, it's 60% of the back of the lots.
Right.
So we're going to keep all the buildings all the way forward. Use small buildings. These probably be starter home size buildings.
Make a move to approve the A and R for Zero Concord Ave.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing, special permit application, 15 Lakeview Road, assessor ID 60-D-50, impervious lot coverage related to construction of a new house. Gregory Caltuno Jr., applicant owner, site is located in both the Lake Residential LR, the Lake Watershed Protection LWP zoning district, continued from 129.
All right, I don't think we don't have the engineer here for this one. I have not heard anything from them. I would just continue this on to the next meeting.
Do you want
And
me
I'll
to
get in
read
touch
this?
with him and find out what's going on.
Do you want me to read this or not? I'll wait until the next meeting.
Yeah, I would hold that until the next meeting. I don't want to open it.
Continue.
We're gonna make a motion to continue the special permit for 15 Lakewood to March 30th at 6:30 PM.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This item is a special permit application, 128, 130, 132, 138 East Main Street, assessor ID 25-E-6, 24-E-7, 25-E-8, 25-E-9, 25E-10. The application was submitted by Signage for Duncan, Carol Poignant Signs, 125 Samuel Bernard Boulevard, New Bedford, Mass. Applicant. And New England Realty Ventures LLC, 218 Main Street, Webster, Mass. Owner. Said site is located in a business with sewer B4 zoning district. Continued from 129.
That's actually me. Should you want me to move up or?
Yeah.
Good. I'll move up. I think I can go the other side.
All right, go.
So we still have some issues on the
All
side.
right, so the update with this is they have submitted a scaled down plan as to what they're planning here. I did get an email from Jason today about going out to grab some photos of some other drive-throughs, but I was too busy in the office today. But I do have Google Maps Street Viewer pulled up. This is next door at the Dunkin' Donuts. Burger King, sorry. Oh, we're talking about Dunkin' Donuts. So you can see that they have what looks like a double drive-through here. There's the electronic message sign here. And then over here, oh, I disappeared, but
That's a older picture, there's really another sign there.
yeah, there was another sign there. But there's sort of a picture board with pricing on it. So that is Dunkin' Donuts, sorry, that's Burger King. I can go over to Wendy's if you want, so take a look at what they've got.
Let's do that, huh?
It's not gonna let me, but there's
Maybe
a,
it has to be the
Electronic
direction of
message.
traffic.
Yeah.
there's an electronic message board back here with a height restriction.
Okay.
So the pylon that goes up. And of course, their drive-through window. I did, back along after our last meeting, I did take a look at the other Dunkin' Donuts in town. And the other Dunkin's in town, didn't have, the entrance and exit signs that they originally had planned, but they've taken them off of, what's planned now, so. But the representative's here if you wanna open this up for discussion with him.
So there's just one there, just before the menu, that red little dot there.
This here?
The other picture you just had.
Plans.
On the site
Oh.
plan. On the site plan.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Yeah,
one
that
right
one.
there.
There's a directional sign there, and then there's the illuminated building, and then here's the awning,
That's
and
it.
then they've got their message electronic menu board here.
Right, what we're considering is just a directional and a sign on the front of the building.
I'm sorry?
We're just considering the directional sign and the sign on the front of the building.
Yeah, the other thing is we need to, condition this out for for the electronic message board. Things like after an hour of, close of business, they need to shut it off. We need to think about light spillage, those things can be conditioned out in this particular permit. But we
Did
kinda
we
need-
address those with Burger King?
I'm sorry?
The special permit for Burger King, that's somewhat recent.
Yeah.
Because I was, when I was on this board, so
Yeah.
that would probably be some, as a starting.
For conditions, yeah.
On that one of the conditions we had was, because at the time, before this property was developed, it was residential right next to Burger King. So, one of the conditions was if the menu board, if there were issues with the menu board, we would go out and take some light meter measurements. And they would need to, dim it and or turn the volume down.
Yeah, that was an abandoned house that was there.
Yeah. There's still a house in that back area, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's an empty lot in the house.
Right, hi everyone, I'm Sean Donovan with Wayne Signs. We're the manufacturer and installer of the proposed signage. So on our last meeting, we reduced the number of directionals, so we just have the one at the entrance. And we downsized the wall sign considerably, if you want to. After that, so what we did was, the last sign was a panel sign, with the white background, and it had a drive-through, so we removed the white background drive-through, and now just putting up the dimensional letters, so it reduces the size considerably. And it's a nice white background, I mean, it really didn't need the backer. And there's a nice, I think you mentioned it was illuminated. These are dimensional PVC letters. There is a light bar that is existing that would shine down on these letters. I think we might even have a night view too.
And that's in the front, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue.
This is the building canopy. This is not a sign, but we are the manufacturer, we'll be installing it, so we are including it in our package.
It's not gonna have no letters or nothing on it.
No, I'll just
Maybe
maybe
orange.
a clearance height, maybe 9 feet clearance on the side, whatever the clearance height is, I think they posted. But it's just one. These are details on the dimensional letters on the fascia. And then after the meeting, I actually took this picture at night from last one, and then we proposed what the sign would look like on it. And that's the single directional at the entrance of the drive-through. That's a base gauge that was provided for their menu boards. And that's the building canopy details.
So is the menu board gonna be on all the time?
The menu board, we actually took that off our original application. But I believe it shuts down when the store closes. You know, it would go dark. It's a Samsung digital display, like a television set. It can go dark. You know, if it's too bright, they can dim it. And it's just, there's no overhang canopy. It's just the digital displays inside like a housing.
What are the ordinary hours of the dump and dumpster?
You know, I don't know. But I don't have to know the hours because I'm not, I don't do the operations of it. But I believe they probably close down by 10 o'clock at night, something like that. I actually, from our last hearing, they were wrapping up. So, yeah, I don't think but they would not keep the board on after hours. I might be able to text and ask that question.
So how is it ensured that does go down? How do we ensure that? Is that written into the regs?
If you want to put that in writing so that they do, that they certainly can do that. But they do go dark, that I know, there's no point to keep it. I mean, they've probably information going in 24 hours, so it's probably technically on, but the display doesn't have to be there. And again, if you want to put that in writing for them to have it go dark after hours, they certainly, it has capability to do
I
that.
think you just answered my question, but the sign has the ability to detect when somebody's there and when there's not somebody there, so it could be,
Yeah, I think,
after,
yes,
say,
yeah,
I'll make the time, say after 6 PM, it only illuminates when.
yeah, I would imagine, I don't, again, not knowing their hours, but they're probably open at 5 AM, for being a morning coffee shop. And, again, not much past 9, 10 o'clock. There are the occasional 24-hour stores, but this one is not one.
Questions?
Not
Yeah.
really.
Good. Motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
All set. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a site plan approval application, 56 Main Street, assessor ID 1-X-11-0, used car sales, service for on-site sales and sales office. Ahmad Rashid, applicant, Tanya Judy, owner. Site is located in the business for zoning district, continued from 129.
So you read this.
We should-
In accordance with the provisions of the Webster zoning bylaw, section 650-53, the Webster Planning Board will hold a public meeting site plan approval application for a used car sales lot, service for the on-site car sales, sales office, and signage to be located at 56 Main Street, assessor ID 1X110. The application was submitted by Ahmad Rashid, 72 West Dudley Road, Dudley, Mass. Applicant, and Rania Judy, 72 West Dudley Road, Dudley, Mass. Owners. Said site is located in a business B4 zoning district.
All right, so we did have plans drop just a little while ago, so these are the most recent plans.
The more clear ones, is that what was the problem?
Yeah, that was one of the items, so here is what the plan is. If we want to turn over to Chuck to take us through a couple of outstanding items.
Yeah, the parking issue.
Sure, so in general, the engineering comments are addressed, but I did have some comments that, the board should give their opinion on, or you folks should discuss. One of them is the on-site parking. The site requires 4 parking spaces. Right now, they are showing 3, and they're requesting a waiver for the parking requirements, stating that folks would park on the town street to access the site. Typically, in the past, the board has required that all the parking spaces be on the subject lot. So I don't know if you guys want me to keep going, or if you want to discuss that.
We'll discuss that first.
Okay.
What do you think?
Know what the standards are for other places that have been approved previously.
Well, every situation is not the same, so it's kind of hard to say.
So there's employee parking here, employee parking here,
Right.
and then there's handicapped here.
Mhm.
What they're missing in this plan is at least one parking spot for patrons.
Right.
What's that line space next to that one parking spot? Well, up
It's a,
above there.
it's a handicap parking spot.
Oh, so that has to be for the access.
Mhm.
And they have to have at least one handicap.
Yes,
So there's sure one spot, is that what I'm?
yes.
And then they have landscaping, that's all that dotted circles and all that.
Yes.
Pavement.
Yeah, okay. How many people, employees are they expected to have?
He's the applicant. I'm
Yes.
public comment.
I'm sure.
I'm sorry, could you repeat
How
that?
many employees is the applicant expected to have?
At the most two, that's where we've got the two vehicles, and with respect to the parking spaces, because of the handicap access requirements, we have to provide a handicap space, which understand can't be waived. So that does eat up a lot of area on the lot. We also have to have a handicapped access ramp out to Main Street that does come down, that further, uses a lot of space as well. So we're at the point now where basically we're just showing, 8 cars, and to use that space for an additional 1 space, which is what we would be talking about. But in terms of getting, not a ideal way to get in and out for customer use, basically with the way that this is set up. But my client is familiar with the site and lives in Oxford. And we're only really expecting maybe 1 customer at a time. So it's not like, there's only 8 cars and it's a used cars lot. So how many people are you going to get at any given time? And it's probably would be 1 or 2 people, each time. And every time that he's looked at the property, done anything with the property, there are parking spaces that are available on Main Street. So in terms of the recognizing the need that he's got to actually make this business a going concern, we're asking to allow for that 1 space to be on street, even if it's not typically done. In this case, this is a very minimal demand, I would say, in terms of the parking needs. But because of the constraints of the site, we feel that we need that in order to keep the number of vehicles up, so that instead of 8 cars for sale, we've got 7 cars for sale, which is a significant. 1 car, you might say, is not that much, but when you're only selling 8, I think it's significant. And there's also his hours of operation during the daytime. There is, if there's parking available on the street, I think that it makes sense to use it. And again, bearing in mind, we had originally looked at this, and I know that the requirements of handicap access are there because it's the law, and there's a good rationale behind that. But the reality is that's taking up 2 spaces that realistically are probably going to be used once or twice a year, maybe. But on top of that, since that can't be waived, we are asking for that relief in terms of the 1 space which would be on the street, which is pretty minimal, I would suggest.
I would just like to point out, even though it's not shown on the plan, but in this section of Main Street, there is formal on-street parking striped.
How many spots are there on the Main Street, do you know? Because there is a business right next door.
Yeah, there's several between Chase and as you go west. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but there's several spaces that are all striped right on Main
So
Street.
you can't park on Chase, right?
I don't know if there's any parking restrictions, but there's no
Yeah.
formal on-street
It's
parking
not very wide.
on Main Street.
Yeah. Looks wide enough.
it's the last walk before the river there.
And just before number 6.
I would say too, I don't know if the parking is allowed on Chase Ave, but we have, we are closing up the curb cut, basically restricting that. And so I would think that, or actually in doing so, create, if parking's allowed on Chase Street, there would be additional spaces that would be created by reducing the, the opening that we're showing on the plan. If you look at all the spaces in front,
No parking.
are there.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't think there was either. There used to be a long time ago, but I think it was eliminated. So how many there is, are those all marked out? I wonder if those are current. They probably are.
This is from 2023.
Okay. So there's 6 spots and for that new business that started right next door, I guess they must have to park on the main street as well. What are the hours for the auto sales approximately?
I think we had, my client is, was expecting him, and I don't know if he got messed up because of the, probably over at the town hall. But the, not open at night. And I know, was sort of regular daytime hours, and then I believe maybe half a day on Saturday, something to that effect. We also, we have no lighting either. So it's not the type of thing that, and again, it's going to be a small operation.
So that building is repair shop. That,
Build the building there.
that's a
Yes.
garage?
Yes.
Not repair, just auto sales. It's marked with overhead doors.
Oh, he's overhead doors, but the plan is to, there's no request for any public garage work. This is for vehicles that he would buy, fix, for resale. That's a shelter. In the building itself, there's a small office area that's shown on the floor plans. It's very small, about I think 12 by 12. And the rest of it would be for basically repairs on his own vehicles for sale.
And access to the dumpster for a trash removal is to go all the way around the whole building, right? That's what it looks like. Yeah. Oh, okay. So how do they get to the dumpster?
Either off hours or employees moving their cars. We'd be a little creative. It's such a tight site to make anything work here.
Right.
So we really didn't want the dumpster anywhere out in front or in high visible, it's a
Makes sense, yeah.
highly visible site, so not a lot of places to hide things.
So for the cars, it's actually spots on Main Street.
Yeah. But that's not even, it's not like it's gonna be a high use dumpster. It's not even a full size dumpster. It's showing up. It's only a 4x6. So I'm trying to pull off.
Sure.
Get it filled regularly.
So if you're gonna be doing repairs and things like that, will you also have a hazardous waste disposal area?
He's gonna get a day of that. Pretty light use of the building. I wish the client was here, but I don't think he might not bring it out.
I looked at it before, that you could do some inside out.
Yeah, there will be typically, this is like a garage setting, the different oils and antifreeze
keep them, take them outside, can't, have any stormwater exposure, that sort of thing. So it's, typically it's fairly minimal.
I'm just wondering where the waste would be kept.
Inside the
Okay.
garage.
Oh, okay, a specific container.
Right, and over a certain gallonage, it's got to be in a double wall. Um,
That's all the questions I have.
Like myself, it's like too small. I think it's too congested, in my opinion. And looking at other, car sales places, Hasbro, that's ideal, U-Haul, and, Webster Auto Sales, which is on the back and so, this whole the funky sign from a couple years ago. And then the problem parking, they seem like they have a lot. Seems like they always have it's four parking spots there, so I don't think I can call precedent for having a waiver. And I don't see municipal parking, so municipal parking too. Grant that. That's my opinion. Sorry, if you other comments. Yeah, on this, rather the board is just I don't need to speak in opposition to the project.
So the other thing was there's an initial architectural plan set with a floor plan and everything that was submitted for this project, and it was stated that a revised architectural plan because the building got smaller was going to be provided, and we haven't seen that yet. So some of these different questions could be answered by having an updated floor plan.
I did deliver updated floor plans, the original set, about 2 weeks ago. I think there wasn't the square footage of the building wasn't correct, but same. Corrected the square footage, but didn't mean the building got small. Okay. Yeah, it's not a different, it's not a bigger 1,500 square foot building that went to 1,200.
Okay, maybe I just didn't get those revised architecturals.
Yes.
So then, yeah, so that was, sorry, I thought there were a couple more, but that was it. I think you got those two to kind of talk about. Alright, so let's open it up. Can I approach? Yeah.
I was gonna bring a slide deck, but after talking to Joe, you probably need to print out for you folks.
I can share.
So, the record, my name is Mark Morgenstein. I'm attorney at the law firm of Peace and Law in Worcester, and I represent Dennis. I'm sorry. Yeah, I represent Dennis Dean. He's the principal owner of Arcade Development LLC and Hometown Property Group, Inc. Those entities own 26 Chase Ave, which is the property immediately to the south, and 46 West Street, which is immediately to the west. So if you go through this, the packet that I have in front of you, just to start off with our initial concerns, and I'll go through this item by item, they're just high level. It's our position that this project does not comply with applicable Massachusetts stormwater management standards. And I've spoken with Chuck, and we've had discussion about that piece regarding the classification of the development as a redevelopment. It's our position that it does not comply with the stormwater site plan criteria or the stormwater management bylaw. Separately, we have serious concerns regarding the potential impacts of the wellhead protection zone 2. This may impact the drinking water of Dudley. I would ask the board and staff if nobody's been consulted on this particular use, given the proximity to the protection zone. As the board has discussed, it does not comply with the off-street parking requirements. We have serious concern in terms of potential off-site impacts associated with the use. And I'll get into that separately. Also, the property at 26 Chase Ave is used for residential purposes. There are children and elderly people that live in this building. There are serious concerns about the auto repair use in that building adjacent to so close to that residential property. So we'll go just high level stormwater site plan criteria. Just kind of want to bring it back to the criteria in the site plan section of the bylaws, because that's what this board is obviously tasked with in terms of whether or not the site plan could be reasonably altered. First, to address stormwater quantity and quality, or water pollution, the opportunity to reduce the risk of groundwater contamination from on-site wastewater disposal systems, stormwater management systems, operations involving use, storage, handling, or containment of hazardous substances, and the proposed development will not result in an increase in storm flow from the site. So the stormwater report addresses stormwater management number 7, basically asserting that this is a redevelopment of an existing site, and we understand that it was previously occupied by a building. But if you look at the site plans, the existing conditions sheet, which is page 5 of the slide deck in front of you, you can see that the plan has changed. And I recognize the gentleman to my right. I've worked with our local applications. They are skilled practitioners. They are trying to make as good of an argument as possible with respect to this project. I completely understand that. But you'll see that the plan has changed from the existing conditions plan was filed on July 28th, 2025 to February 11th. There might be the reiteration, so forgive me, some of these documents are old because the new plan set was just uploaded. But you'll see that it went from an unpaved gravel lot to the existing building footprint. And they reference the existing conditions data from 2019, the Google Earth building. So what they're trying to show is that this is a redevelopment because there was a building previously on the lot. But what they don't really want to highlight is the fact that when you look at the aerial, as Joey just had up there, that this site is more than half grass now. And by looking at the aerial, looking at the Google map, I believe the town actually installed benches to make this feel like you're in a park. This is much more pervious than it ever was before. And now, the place to make it partially impervious, and they're saying, oh, it's a redevelopment because it was previously had a building, but that was over 5 years ago. It went from impervious to now pervious, and they want to put it back to impervious. And they're saying, well, because it was previously impervious, we shouldn't be subject to the stormwater management standards. And the stormwater management standards specifically say you're supposed to meet to the maximum extent possible. And so it's our position that they should be compliant with stormwater management standards, just based on the standards themselves, but most importantly, because this is in a wellhead protection zone. There's no treatment of water on site. Water is just flowing sheet off the pavement into the streets, adjacent properties. I mean, there's the implications with respect to the existing auto repair use on site. I recognize that the auto repair use might be minimal. I've been to plenty of garages. They're sometimes not the coolest places, and there are accidents, oil spills. There are different chemicals that are used in auto repair. It's not as if this is a pharmacy or some small retail use. I mean, this is a pretty heavy automotive repair use. If it was just a surface lot for selling automobiles, probably wouldn't have the same concerns that we have here. But when we have 2 bays, which I also question why one needs 2 bays for 8 surface parking spaces, display lots for off-street for auto sales. But that's another point. So our position is this does not comply with applicable stormwater management standards. At the very least, the applicant should be doing more due diligence to see to what extent they can recharge on site, provide for treatment on site. I recognize that they dug 96 inches. They can dig 10 feet. They're going to find soil eventually that will be able to provide for infiltration. So I recognize I spoke to Chuck about access to drainage. There seems to be limited drainage in the area, but that does not negate the fact that they should be complying with stormwater management standards. And for us to say, well, you know, there's no drainage nearby, let's allow it to continue to flow off the site, I think is doing a disservice to the community. So that's the stormwater piece, which we're very concerned about in terms of potential impacts. Going to page 14, we have a map. And I just, sorry, go to 13. You'll see, as provided on the applicant's plan set, they show that the property is zoned to. There needs to be certain safeguards under Mass DEP regulations. And we just don't know what those are yet. And so, to Chuck's point, it might be require minimal additional infrastructure. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not an engineer, but I know that this raises serious concerns with respect to applicable requirements. I think that Dudley should be consulted as well, given the proximity to their drinking water recharging of this. So that's stormwater. Yes, sir.
Required to notify Dudley in your opinion?
Are you required to notify Dudley?
I'm sure. Are we required?
I think generally planning boards send notices to adjacent municipalities.
It has been sent.
And I think if Dudley were to look at that public notice, they would see auto sales use. I don't know if the public notice references the auto repair use. I think it just warrants significant attention. So that's just the stormwater and the wellhead. Let's go to the next criteria. Reduce visual intrusion by controlling the visibility of parking, storage, and other outdoor service areas in from public ways or premises residentially used or zoned. Reduce glare from headlights. Reduce light trespass from luminaries onto adjacent lots or the street or light overspill into the night sky. Achieve greater compatibility with the surrounding area as to building design or scale or site design. The proposed zone will not create a nuisance of noise, odor, smoke, vibrations, unsightliness, or other conditions detrimental to the public good. And then finally, any variances required from the planning board of appeals have been granted. So if we could go, Joey, to the overall layout plan, I think that would help for directing this next discussion. So I appreciate the project, the layout plan is updated. Frankly, that dumpster layout, I don't even understand how it functions. I mean, from a circulation standpoint, I don't know what kind of truck is going to somehow get into that. We don't see an auto turn analysis. Are they rolling it out to Chase Ave? Is the trash truck going to stop in Chase Ave? Is it going to pull it on site? I have no idea how this thing's going to function. And I think the board members earlier point, it's just too tight of a site for this many things. They could easily reduce the number of bays, make it one bay, given that they're only using this site for repairs for the cars on their lot, or they could reduce the number of display lots for off-street parking. There are opportunities to improve this project, but I still think no matter what, it is way too tight of a site. There's no fencing around the site, which I can appreciate. If I was selling used cars, I would want fencing, but the folks that are moving to the south certainly would want that. And they're going to be looking at an enclosed dumpster, but given that it's multiple stories, they'll be able to see over a lot of that screening probably. There's really no mitigation with respect to light or sound. There certainly should be fencing around most of the site. There should be arborvitae to further buffer any sound. I appreciate the foot candles were added to the plan. I think they should obviously be dark sky compliant, shielded. We have serious concerns regarding the auto repair use, as I said before. I recognize that the hours might be, regular business hours, but on a Saturday, if someone's home, I wouldn't want to hear, work done right next to my bedroom. Very often these garage doors are open when they're doing the work. It could be loud. In terms of fumes, I don't know what kind of chemicals they're working on. I don't put painting in there. There could be fumes associated with painting these vehicles. So there's serious concerns regarding the noise and the odor associated with the auto repair use. We talked about poor circulation. It's atrocious. No offense to Mark. I recognize he's got a limited footprint to work with, so kudos to you for being creative in terms of the best way to lay this out. But, I mean, what if our employees went to the new chicken restaurant around the corner to get some food? And then the trash truck's there. Or, I mean, what if the other employee has to leave? I mean, the idea of these tandem spaces just seems not user-friendly. As mentioned, the parking is non-compliant. I did not see and forgive me, because there might be a reference
referenced somewhere in the bylaws that I've missed, I do not see an area where the planning board can unilaterally waive off-street parking requirements. I would assume that the applicant has to go to the zoning board of appeals for a variance associated with off-street parking. And if that's the case, that variance would have to be granted before the site plan could ever be approved in accordance with the bylaws. And I would just like to finish by saying, this certainly does not fit within the neighborhood. It's impactful to the residential properties to the south. It could be detrimental to the commercial businesses to the west. And I think to the extent that the board sees fit to approve this, we would ask for the opportunity to really work with the board to propose very strict conditions of approval that would hopefully mitigate some of these potential impacts. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Did you say just about anything? No, where's it, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who you were asking.
So Dennis Dean, he's the principal owner of the properties to the west, so, and then to the south. So he owns all the property around it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep. So 26 Chase Ave right there, and then he owns 46 Main Street.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
He's not the one there.
I don't believe so, but he has tenants over there.
When you're ready, can I respond, or if you're still talking? Yeah. Couple of things. I did have a discussion with the previous hire about relief from parking provisions, and was told that there was a planning board at jurisdiction over that. That's the information that I received, and that's the way we proceeded. The repair, I think, aspect of this is, I have said being overstated in terms of they're not going to be doing auto body work or anything of that nature. You can't do auto body work anyway unless you've got ventilation material and the rest of it. And the actual repair is going to be limited to vehicles that he's selling. We're not looking, and there was a discussion about this, I think, one of the previous meetings. It's not a repair shop. It's not open to the public. In a lot of cases, some of the cars that they would buy to, to resell, they clean a lot. They do a little bit of this or that, basically, to get them in saleable shape. But it's not the type of thing where we're going to have general public is going to be visiting the properties that the car worked on. In terms of the dumpster, the materials that they're going to have are not significant in any way. We've got a small dumpster. Dumpster, people just don't show up randomly, to remove your dumpster. I mean, that's the type of thing that gets scheduled. As discussed, we could, if there's an employee there, we can back his car up and they can come get it. But more likely, we would just schedule that for a period, when the access could be provided. So I don't think I think that's perfectly feasible. And in terms of people working at the site, certainly I think that, that could accommodate 2 employee vehicles. And it's really, again, as discussed, most inconspicuous spot to place the dumpster because it's going to be behind the building. Away from Main Street. And I do think that with the area that we're looking at now is we've got a significant landscape buffer that would be provided, as shown on the plan, which will provide, for some rain infiltration on the property. I think this building was, I understand it was destroyed in the tornado. Yeah. So it's right on Main Street. It's And I would think that this would be an opportunity basically to clean it up, put a new business in town, in that location with landscape buffers and so forth that were never there previously. And I think look at the Hunter's property, there's just not any bit of landscaping or anything of that nature. If you look that over and just looked at that, looks like a paved parking lot, pretty much the whole thing from, or gravel lot. I don't see any grass growing on that property. I would think that this, with the improvements that we're proposing, is actually a significant step up over what was previously there. And in terms of the other issues that have been raised, the town engineer came back with a list of comments. Our engineer went through that diligently, and basically addressed those to the point where the report came back that, that the comments are addressed. Now, the issue I think that you've got before you is having to do with the, whether there's the need to put one additional parking space on the lot or whether it could avail itself of the parking on the street. Which I think is would be ideal in terms of recognizing the need for a business to prosper and be able to function. The lighting in terms of headlights, he's not going to be open at night, so there's really no headlights in the daytime. We do have very minimal lighting on the building, and of course that we would be, we did submit a lighting plan, and we could agree to make that dark sky compliant. But again, it's the extent of the lights really minimal, not much more than you might have in a single family house. So I don't see any light pollution that is going to be affecting the neighbors in any way. I don't think that the, all of the work that we're talking about doing on our own vehicles would take place, with inside the building. And I think again that, this is a location right on Main Street where, this would, I think, be an improvement over what currently exists there. And I also think that the plan that we've shown really is something's got to go there. And I think that this is, a reasonable use for this location.
You have a, back to the, drawing with the parking spaces. So if someone's come to see the vehicle in spot 1, and there's a vehicle in 2, 6, and 5, in order to get 1 out, you're gonna have to move 5. Where are you gonna put 5? You can put it out on the street, and then if there's a handicap vehicle at the actual parking spot there, then you really can't get out 5. So now you've got to move the handicap vehicle plus 5. You got 1. So I have some serious concerns about that.
This is a display lot, so those are the vehicles that are for sale. No one's moving them around.
Well, if somebody comes by vehicle, right? So if I came by,
You mean if somebody wants to buy one of the cars?
if you had a F-150 and car number 1, I was looking for one, I would come in and look at it and drive it.
Well, you'd have to move some of the other vehicles to get the car, but I don't think that would be, that's true in any car lot, any used car lot, a new car lot that you see. Cars are packed more closely together. And actually, these are, I think these are sized down,
these are actually oversized.
Yeah, 18, so they're actually oversized in a lot of places. They're actually much tighter than that. But I think that would just be, if you had a sale, you just have to drive your cars around and get the one out.
I just think that it's,
But it would be,
a lot of new layering this.
that would be once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's not the type of thing where, I mean, typically I think we take cars around for sale for some period of time, so that it's, I wouldn't see that as being a frequent, undertaking.
Mr. Chairman. I would also like to point out that this is a pretty high crash intersection. Right here. I mean, this is, right now, this is the only way from Dudley through Webster to get to the highway. Because the bridge is out. So,
Is there any way to get that data from highway transportation to see exactly how many incidents have been at that intersection?
yeah, I could see.
Just, I could,
There's a big dump trucks coming in from Dudley.
it's a low traffic generation use. It's very minimal car trips to this daily. And we're also not making any changes to the curb line or the curb cuts other than reducing the curb cut on Chase Ave. So if anything, we're making improvements here to the intersection. We're moving that driveway further away from that intersection.
Yeah, but I'm looking and thinking, if you're backing 2 cars out, somebody's here, so what are they gonna do? They're gonna valet the car for 10 minutes here. And the lane queuing up, I mean, you can end up with congestion that's already congested. Just something to think of.
One of the questions I got from continue the hearing so that we can have that data presented to us. So you can kind of consideration that.
Review some of this stuff, yeah.
So if Dudley was notified, you haven't received any response from them at all, Joey?
No, when you have a project that is within, I believe, 500 feet of a town line, you are notified. And this is, I believe, within that 500 zone, so I'll check it, but it goes to the offices, they post it in their lobbies,
Right.
and that's in case someone from that town wants to know, hey, what's going on in Webster, they go in and they kind of
Right,
look through it.
okay.
Then go right like to the water
But generally, you
department.
don't get a call from another community
Really?
unless it's
Okay.
something huge.
Okay,
All right,
yeah, I think a lot more consideration would have to be done.
yeah. So we're gonna make a motion to continue this, so we can review.
I just wanted, if I may,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, it might be helpful if Joey were to reach out to Dudley specifically and highlight what the different uses are on site. Because I think the public notice likely says auto sales use. I think if I was getting that, I'd say, okay, service lot, no big deal, right? There might be a trailer, if that's what we usually see. I think it might be worthwhile to have a further discussion, so.
And just in response to that too, is there is a separate category under the bylaw for auto repairs, and we're not applying for that and not requesting that. And that's generally a public garage, no different than if somebody, any work that they would be doing would be done with inside the building on their own vehicles. And the fire department, which typically usually regulates that work, does provide for capturing any fluids or anything of that nature, that might result from that work being done. So I don't see it as a real hazard to the drinking water supply any more than someone who's in one of the residential buildings that's doing work on their own car in their garage.
Okay, thank you.
Without any traps or any supervision or any permits or any inspections or any of that.
When you say, repairs, there's zero body work, like no paint booth, no fiberglass work, nothing.
No, I mean, absolutely no body work whatsoever. And if they had any work, of that nature, they'd get it done someplace else, because as I say, that's pretty well regulated because of the air pollution aspects of that.
That's my thought with the house right behind it.
Yeah.
Doing any sort of body work, that would be really difficult with.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that, Mr. O'Neill's client is here next meeting, so that we can get definitive answers on a lot of these, what's gonna be taking place on site.
That possible with the client here next time?
Uh,
The client, can you get your client here with you next time?
Yeah,
All right.
we were expecting him, but I certainly can bring him back next time.
Okay.
And did you want me to reach out to Dudley?
Okay, looking for a motion to continue this to,
Motion to continue 56, Main Street site plan approval application to March 30th at 6:30 PM.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This item is a special permit and site plan application, refile, 415 to 431 South Main Street, assessor ID 1-H-5-0, and 443 South Main Street, assessor ID 1-H-7-0, 786 Webster Realty Trust, 431 South Main Street, Webster, Mass. Applicant, and Jason Nabai and Jacques Long, 19 Eagle Drive, Dudley, Mass. Owners. Said site is located in the business before zoning district. What's the name?
Yeah.
That's the kid.
That's it.
And then the public notice record. Thank you.
In accordance with the provisions of the Webster zoning bylaw, section 650-38 and 650-53, the Webster Planning Board will hold a public hearing on a special permit and site plan approval application for a gasoline service station with a convenience store and associated signage to be located at 415, 431 South Main Street, assessor ID 1H50, and 443 South Main Street, assessor ID 1H70. The application was submitted by 786 Webster Realty Trust, 431 Main Street, South Main Street, Webster, Mass. Applicant, and Ghassan Nefe and Raja Shamoun, 19 Eagle Drive, Dudley, Mass. Owners. Said site is located in the Business B4 zoning district.
All right, folks, so this is a refile. This has gone through the pipeline before, and they've gone through conservation, got to Mass DEP flagged it and said, hey, we're doing a lot of disturbance in the riverfront. This is in what they call 200-foot riverfront area of the French River. And Levesque Associates worked with DEP to come up with a new revised plan in order to satisfy the environmental piece of this. So what you've got is pretty much our brand new plan, which is why this is coming back through the board. So we need to review this and take a look and see what they're planning on doing. And this is the new site design. It puts the building off to the west along the police station.
Where's the retaining wall they added?
There's a retaining wall right along here.
Okay.
As far as comments are concerned, there was a comment from the fire chief. Police had no comment. Highway had no comment. Fire,
There was quite a few comments from, town.
so this is the fire chief's comment. Regarding access for their largest apparatus in the event of an emergency. The other comment was, nothing from the town administrator. I think the other comment came from comment from them. This is from Worcester County Communications, which is here in the police station.
And
Let's get the police chief more mention. Yeah, the police chief's concerns of taking right-hand turn. This leads to congestion and crashes given the reduced visibility. Exiting the lot. Turning on to the side.
No surprise there.
So with that, I would,
But they didn't raise that concern when we first had this application.
Yeah, that's the weird part.
They raised it now. I agree it's a bad intersection, but.
So we have gas stations on every side, both sides of the road.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to-
I mean, it might be, I don't know if Chief Shaw is thinking
It's been there
because
for a while.
the building is now put this way, if you've got one or two cars in a queue,
Yeah, right now it's always this way, right?
whereas before the building went
Yeah.
across the lot.
Can you go back to, Jeff Sad's comment on the fire? Because that was
I think
pretty
that's the more significant one.
So it couldn't get around to the backside.
This is public health and safety, so.
So aerial access, street side. and the parking lot. Why would they need aerial? Is it a big building?
So Philippe Cravo, Arlbeck Associates, project engineer for the proposed site plan. Yeah, I mean, it's wide open. I know that it's literally the property right next door. The driveway, it's the retaining wall and the grade. The grade drops down, but there is the driveway there next to it. But you should, if you park on, if there ever was a fire, I mean, you could get to the building essentially, because it's actually near the road. You could get to at least those first three sides right from the roadway. And then if you, through the site or through, this parking lot out behind here.
I think truck will get to that big parking lot in the back.
We can verify that.
It cannot fit with with ladder one. The wings come out
Oh, all the table.
To-
Oh, yeah, stabilizer.
and that creates an issue.
I'm just concerned as anytime you talk about a gas station, the risk of any sort of fire, that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, well, so there's the fuel island, which is certainly accessible 360. In the plan set, we do have a truck movement through the site. So we can get through the site with the fire apparatus. This is, I wasn't aware of this comment about 360 around the building. But we do have a truck movement through the site. So the truck can get into the property, drive around, and come out of the property through the two different access points, curb cuts into the site.
That's the driveway in the back there, behind that retaining wall.
That's the adjacent driveway on the police station.
Okay.
And then it's like sort of a tiered situation. So at the end of that driveway, there's another retaining wall that goes down to the parking lot. That's right behind, like that third story down. But so if from if there was a fire in the convenience store, there's certainly plenty of safeguards when it comes to these fuel islands. From a fire standpoint, they have the fire suppression system within the fuel island itself that will spray, the foam all over and kill, to knock down any fires. If there's a fire in the convenience store, that would just be, just like any other structure fire, I guess. If there's a building caught fire, it would be similar to something like that. It's not gonna have like an explosion,
It's gonna be a new building.
It's gonna be a brand new building, most recent code,
All the recent fire code.
yeah, fire codes, everything. It's less than, it's a 3,600 square foot building, 664. So it's less than the threshold that would require fire suppression in the building itself from a plumbing standpoint. So, that doesn't come into play. So, if there was, fire, it would have to be, fire department address.
Where's the fill of that? Is that the prop UG tank? Is that where the fill point is for the tanker?
Correct, yeah, that's where the underground tank
So
would be.
what's that, like the square right at the line? Is that a fence or is that just a property line?
Yeah, so that on the right-hand side there, I'm trying to, what are we looking at here?
Here?
That right there.
That's what you're talking about?
I just don't know how you could get a truck, a tank truck inside of that.
There's a turning
Yeah,
demonstration.
Yeah, if you go down a couple sheets, there's
You'll see, you'll know when you see that.
Just a couple. There we go. All right, I got you. I was trying to figure like how you're gonna. I didn't think to make. Sorry.
Yeah, make the loop all the way around. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, they just,
And they drop on the passenger side of the tanker truck.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's not the same footprint as the existing building. It's,
So
the back would be facing this part of the police station?
correct, set a little bit farther back, but yes, the back of the
Yeah.
building would be, facing the,
This is what's existing. There's two buildings that are existing right now.
so yes, so,
that old building.
in that old 3-story. So currently there's that 1-story convenience store that's kind of central on the site, and then you got that 3-story, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know what that
So I was not on this board at that time, so will the building next to it, that 3-story building, be eliminated?
Yes.
Is that all part of the property?
That's
Oh,
coming
okay,
down.
so it's really expanding. Okay, yeah.
It's
Is that a vegan building or is there like anybody living in that or?
Both buildings
I hope not.
It's a vegan restaurant.
Find out when they get put out.
Not me, but.
What's the proposed rating of the site going to be like?
Yeah, if you can scroll down.
Are we making any changes to the grading?
It's generally good. So it's generally, that retaining wall, when that was built, it created just a large, I guess, flat area of that parcel. So it's going to be generally within that flatter portion closer to Main Street. We are proposing a retaining wall along the right-hand side there, so that sort of shaded in rectangle there. There's a retaining wall that is being proposed along the property line, and that just lets us create like a nice flatter site.
Where Mr. Wigglesworth's mouse is?
Yes, along that property line
Will that
there.
be?
That's the north side, yeah.
Sightlines, will that, I don't want to obstruct people from viewing traffic coming at them.
Yeah, no, the retaining wall is not going to be, it's to retain on our side, not to hold back on the other side. So you're at grade, and the grade actually kind of on the adjacent property drops off of there. So if you're,
455 and 448.
Now, are they doing stuff for drainage, Chuck? Is there tanks and all that? Or for the-
Yes.
I assume so.
Yes, it's fairly similar to, I don't want to, it's very similar to the previous application.
Yes. the fuel island from the previous application, the fuel island stayed the same. The stormwater system stayed the same. The building obviously shifted. It was kind of parallel to the fuel island along the top of the page there. But because of the riverfront area, DEP kind of pushed back on the building within the riverfront, even though it's already, been worked over 100 times, since then. But
Oh, so they're the ones that told you to move the building?
well, yeah, that, and we're just trying to come up with the best layout. So the building was reduced in size, shifted over to that left-hand side. It actually, pulls it closer to the front, which, the retaining wall isn't as high right there, so it's like if off that backside, it's pretty tall off the backside there. So
Maintaining the wall though, is there an issue with the owners of that property?
no, so they're gonna work the foundation of the new. They're gonna get a structural engineer to kind of design the retaining wall into the foundation design.
Is there an issue with access or easement to the property for that, or?
That is, well, I think you're maybe mixing two things, that you're thinking of like the convenience store proximity to the retaining wall. That, no, there was another issue with was it the eastern retaining wall that we were just talking about with the sight line?
Yeah.
Originally, that was shown to require an easement on the neighboring property, and that has since been revised. So they're going to construct the wall, from the subject property.
Okay.
And it's, there's two low points on the site, just to get back to the grading. There's catch basins within the property, collect everything that's generated, including the roof on site within the paved areas. Collect it, run it through water quality units, which are those just proprietary sedimentation units that have a capacity for oil storage, hydrocarbons, floatables, really. And then that will discharge to a subsurface, those chambers embedded in stone, those arch chambers. And then that's been designed to handle the water that's coming from the property. And there is an overflow that ties to the drainage system, a high-end overflow that ties into the drainage system in East Main Street with a backwater prevention valve. So, the Main Street storm system doesn't surcharge back into the stormwater system.
So you looked over all that stuff, we're all set with that.
Yeah, I do have, there's a couple comments that I think the board should discuss. You let me know when you want to talk about those.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So the majority of, essentially the engineering comments are addressed. They do show their parking calculations on the plan set. They're using the way these parking calculations work is it's basically your service and retail square footage that designates the required parking. And they're using the square footage of the entire building to calculate the parking.
Yeah, top right. I think Joey's looking for it
So-
on the table.
So they're basically conservative in their parking calculations, which is fine. It just technically, the regulations say to use the service area and the retail area. It doesn't matter to me from an engineering perspective. I just didn't know, if the board is fine with that, then that's fine. Because they're essentially saying that they're required to have 18 spaces or something to that
Yeah,
effect.
it did say
And,
18,
and
they're providing 19.
yeah, and I forget what the other calculation gives, but
Your
it's
calculation was
less.
lower.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like 14 or 15 or something like that, which obviously you can provide more parking than what's required. It just technically on the plan, so. I don't know if the board has any.
I think more is better.
Yeah, we have no problem with
You're
that.
right, okay.
Unrequited, that's all that they do.
Yeah.
In the future, EV spots count in that.
They do, yes. Yep, just like the
Electric
handicap parking
vehicles,
spots
all
also
that,
count
too,
toward it. So, the other comment was, we, as everyone knows, we have a lot of issues with the traffic on Main Street. And, this site has, you have your dual in and out entrance to the eastern side. And then on the western side or the right-hand side, you have a right turn only. And for some reason in Webster specifically, people have a hard time following traffic signage and everything else. So, we were looking to see if we could skew that driveway exit a little more to essentially do something that would make it, would deter vehicles from either trying to turn in there or vehicles that would want to turn left out of there when it's a right turn only. The designer did adjust the driveway apron a bit, but essentially this has do not enter signage. It has right turn only signage. It's got the painted arrow right turn only. I really don't know what else you're going to be able to do there to discourage improper turning.
And they're right next door to the police station, so. Not the police are gonna watch you doing that, though.
Is there any such thing as signage that would say penalties apply or something like that? No. People would ignore it anyway.
No, yeah, and it, a lot of times it comes down to enforcement. But so I don't know what else the applicant could do to try and deter improper turning. So, I'm okay with what they have. I just kind of want to leave it open to the board. If you guys want to discuss it at all or suggest something or what have you.
Would it be possible on the entrance towards the, away from the police station, if that was angled such that was only an entryway? So you would enter there and exit further down.
Well, so again, stealing your thunder,
That's fine.
you have to be able to get the tanker truck in and out of there.
So we can't do that. We can't make the tanker truck circle around and come out
Well,
by the
No.
police station, no?
No, because it's the way the intersection there is configured, you can't, that left-hand side, curb cut, you really can't turn in there, because you have such a queue in the traffic light, it's gonna be very difficult to, it's gonna block Main Street if you're trying to turn in there.
Yeah, the other curb cut is farther from the intersection, so, as we're looking at this, and then it's also that right hand, like it lends itself to taking that right hand out towards the intersection.
Yeah.
If it's stacked up and you're trying to take a left out of that, that exit there, that one-way exit, that left would probably back up into the site, trying to make that left out of there.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to make the left farther back away from the intersection there.
It's always been a problem. There used to be a gas station before.
Mm-hmm.
It was a problem then, when it was a tiny place. Now it's got, 4 filling areas, right?
For pumps.
It's like the one over by Price Chopper, the problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not so much you can do about it.
Mhm. Well, like, would consideration for a flashing fiber optic sign or something? Is that too much?
Can you angle that, the exit more so that it would be as tighter left-hand turn on the Main Street if the person wanted to turn left?
You mean right-hand turn?
So we.
That you were going
Yes.
right-hand turn.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it was, we did angle that, that is more angle than what we had before, but, I understand you're just trying to force them to make
As much as
that
you
right.
can,
Yeah.
yeah.
As much as.
Angled it, putting a high,
Absolutely.
a 1-foot curb is so.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Um,
All you can do.
know what we did at the golf and the Dorias, doesn't deter me from going the wrong way.
Yeah.
If I'm able to clear it.
You have signs there, right? on each
Yeah, I think it's
side.
gonna be signs there, and if, you know, as people use it, if they wanna get back, you know, on South Main Street to go east or, you know, to the right-hand side, they have to go out that other entrance, but yeah, I guess the concern is people trying to make a left-hand turn out of the right-hand turn only.
Yeah.
I mean, it's closer to the intersection, there's probably, you know, if you stack 2 or 3 cars there, from the stop line, it's
And
gonna be a
like-
harder move, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a harder move to make that left, so they're gonna wanna go out the farther.
The only time it would be okay is early in the morning when there's nobody on the road.
Right.
Yeah. Who knows what'll happen.
I don't have anything else.
All right.
So, I do have a couple more. So, I hate to point this out, but there is one call out that you still have on there about,
C3, missed that one.
so there is a call out that calls for an easement on the adjacent property still, so that'll have to be, that'll be fixed, but that's a pretty easy change. The other thing I just wanted to bring to the board's attention is the traffic report is from the previous application, so it hasn't necessarily been updated to this application. You know, the previous application, when it was the larger convenience store and liquor store. However, you know, this has a much lower, this would have lower traffic counts, but it's essentially the same entrance and exit from the site. So you're basically looking at the same thing, just lower traffic volumes. So technically it's up to the board if you want to have that updated, but I don't see any real reason to. You just thought it should be on the record that we discussed it.
You think if the traffic study would change the entrances and the exits at all?
If anything, it would make it less conservative than what you have here, right? Because you have lower traffic volumes from this site, so I wouldn't mess with it.
Yeah, leave it alone, man.
Right. All right.
What do you think?
And that's all I got.
Oh, the traffic thing?
Yeah.
I'd say leave it where it is.
I'm sorry,
It's fine the way it is.
I think so.
All right.
We need to continue this for the,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Make a motion to continue the special permit and site plan for 415 through 431 South Main Street to March 30th at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Well, in favor?
Aye.
Hopefully at that time, we have conservation next week, so hopefully we'll have everything hashed out with conservation.
Do you still want to, do you want to wait to see what the board decides on the plan, or do you want to move the Concom?
I think I mean, I didn't hear anything super concerning with the way the site is laid out. So, you know, as long as nothing really changes from a conservation standpoint, I think we're good to keep this plan the way it is.
Okay, all right, then I'll tell the agent that they can move forward with.
Yeah.
With opening your hearing on that end.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a modification to a special permit for Town Forest Road, assessor ID 97-C-1-0, Webster Cannabis Company LLC, to be approved for an online pre-orders and in-store pickup sale for the retail marijuana sales shop. DRN Realty Inc., 2780 Street, Webster, property owner. Application was submitted by Webster Cannabis Company LLC, Gary Meldalia, applicant. Said site is located in an industrial I zoning district.
All right, so we need to open the public. There should be
Town Forest Road.
I only had the 3.
you want to read the?
That's fine.
Sorry about that, Tracy was gonna say.
In accordance with the provisions of the Webster zoning bylaw, section 650-56 and 650-93G, the Webster Planning Board will hold a public hearing on the modification of a special permit application for Webster Cannabis Company LLC to be approved for online pre-orders and in-store pickup sales for the retail marijuana sales shop located at 4 Town Forest Road, Assessor ID 97C10. DRN Realty, 27 Eddy Street, Webster, property owner. The application was submitted by Webster Cannabis Company, LLC. Gary Baldiga, applicant. Said site is located in an industrial I zoning district. Oh. Okay.
All right, so 4 Town Forest Road, Webster Cannabis is before us because they went through their conditions, which we appreciate. And they have found that they are not permitted to do online sales. So they are looking to either have this condition omitted or adjusted language to allow them to be able to have online sales. I did take a look at our other marijuana retail stores' conditions, and there isn't anything in there that prohibited them from being able to do online sales. So the board just needs to determine whether they want to allow them to have online sales or not. So.
So I assume there's other places in the state that have online sales?
Yes, from what I understand, yeah, I know the Vault does do online sales.
Oh, the Vault does in town?
Yeah, the Vault in town does, yeah. The other,
Are we restricted by the state how many we can have, or?
No.
Okay.
Actually, if I may, I think that it's, if I'm not mistaken, you can only pre-order, but you have to pay in the store.
Yes.
Cannot use a credit card.
Yep.
Online to purchase. Basically, it's a call in a pizza,
No.
come pick it up, pay cash.
Yeah.
So
Online order.
this would be.
And they don't mail it.
Correct, right.
There's no mailing or no,
Correct. It's basically just.
that'd be federal there, then.
Correct, yeah, because that's the problem with the whole credit card, that's why we have to use cash. It's not-
As far as comments are concerned, the chief of police had no problem with that. So.
We did, this, for the vault was allowed online sales.
Yeah, I went through the Vault and I didn't see anything in there that prohibited them from doing online sales. And I know some
I
networks.
don't remember us doing that. Yeah.
I do remember when somebody else had come up with a board about delivery. They were trying to set up a delivery business,
That's different, yeah.
but that was different. But this isn't even delivery. This is just
Yeah.
pre-order and pickup. But I don't
And there isn't
remember.
anything in the host agreement that deters it. I did talk with the town administrator, so he was fine with it.
I'll just say, I'm Phil Silverman from Vicente LLP for the company. This is Gary Baldiga, who's the owner and manager. And I think you've all said it, it's just pre-ordering. And it's a customer convenience so that they spend less time in the store, kind of cuts down on the amount of people in the parking lot at any given time. So it sort of mitigates traffic in that sense. But I think you've all sort of got the gist of it.
Motion?
Just make the motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, I guess we have to do that.
Make a motion to close the public hearing for 4 Town Forest Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Awesome. All right, thank you. So does that just sort of remove the language, or does it allow it specifically, or?
Well, we have to have a decision.
We'll do a draft decision, but after, there's no more input.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now you want to do the draft decision? Oh, there's no item on that. And we have to approve if we ran out of time, huh? I know. All right. Should I read off what I'm gonna do first? Next action item is the draft decision, site plan and special permit application, new construction, auto body repair shop, office and signage, 1 Beacon Street, FKA 154 Lake Street, assessor ID 29-D-1-0, Henry Tuchowski, applicant owner. Site is located in the business 5B5 in Lake Watershed LWP zoning district. Continue from 1/29/26.
All right, so I did print out the decision this time for all of you. My apologies for the last,
All right,
I was caught off guard. So I'll just go through the decision with you. I've obviously done the background, got all the meeting dates in there.
First name, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, that first name, Henry versus Frank.
actually Frank had asked me to use Frank instead of Henry. So, I mean, I can definitely change that back to what the application came in as. But that was, he mentioned that to me.
Yeah, I thought we changed it in the last meeting because it was in the drafted meeting minutes. So,
So are we okay with Frank on the actual decision? Okay. So, got the background, got the exhibits, cataloged there. Findings of fact, you'll find, that I put in, all the appropriate information as far as lot size, zone, what the actual applicant, was proposing. Also, the discussion of lighting. I did put the exhibits in here for, which exhibits had comments, which exhibits did not. I did point to the final peer review letter. Legal engineer for long-term operation and maintenance. The discussion on signage. And of course, the, yeah, I mentioned lighting. So, I went through the minutes, obviously, I came in partway through this particular project, so if everything looks in order, then I guess you can vote on the findings of fact as we go through this.
all right.
you just see on the first page on the background, the November date on there had 2024. I think it should be 2025. The second paragraph in the background.
Jason's name in there too. Just have his last name.
I'm sorry?
In that same section,
Yeah.
has Jason's last name, but it's not his first name.
Something different. No way.
We're good to look at the numbering too.
See the vice chairman, you see that? See what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about?
Jason's
It's on the
missing.
background, second paragraph,
Background, second
halfway
paragraph.
through. Has Jason's last name only,
Oh, there we go.
minor thing. All right. So you don't get the vote on this, it's all right. If you have any comments.
No, it's okay.
I think you should look at the numbering there, the specific findings
ended F17 and it goes to F14.
Chapter 17, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, 17,
Okay, maybe.
18, 19, 20.
So, a motion on finding the fact that wants to have
16, I'll make a motion to approve findings F1 through 16 as presented.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so specific findings. You have the standard 1 through 9 for section B on F17. And then, of course, the corrections on the numbering. Sorry about that. Stormwater management calls out on F18, 26, 158 XL recharge units. And then, of course, the request of waivers, which you'll find under the waiver section.
Make a motion to approve findings, specific findings F17 through F21.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Under the waivers, we've got 2 waivers. The first is for service sales, auto services rather, within 50 feet of a residential zone. Rationale, request due to residential neighborhood located directly across the street to the west of the development site. The site is approximately 1.12 acres in size and is located in a business district B5 zone. That is waiver number 1. Waiver number 2 is 650-24-2A. Impervious lot coverage in the Lake Watershed Protection District, peaking out at 57.7% impervious when it should be 40 and under. The rationale for this is the nature of the auto body business. The building will house the appropriate amount of parking spaces directly adjacent to the building. Contiguous lot to the south is owned by Mr. Chahowski and is fully paved with an appropriately sized stormwater system. So there's those 2 there.
I'd just like to point out that technically, this is not one of those, you don't need a waiver for that, because as part of the watershed protection permit, you know, if you are providing infiltration for that increase in impervious area, you essentially need the permit, so you don't need a waiver from that.
So we don't need to make findings on W2 then.
Well, kind of like that other application we had when they asked for like 400 different waivers, and it's like, what, it's on the plan, you don't need a waiver from that. And I think you guys had approved them, just because that's what they had asked for, and it didn't really matter, but.
So same thing with this.
I guess.
Which we don't need W1 or W2?
W2.
What was,
W2 is the impervious.
One was
W1 is
50
the
feet.
location next to a residential zone.
yeah, that one you're gonna need.
It's a business thing, so.
I'll make a motion to the affirmative to grant the waiver for from 650-35, which will allow the automotive services business within 50 feet of a residential zone. I don't believe, in addition to what was stated here, that there was any public comment from an abutter that took issue with that business.
No, and you had gone through all the different things, screening and buffers and all that stuff that you're proposing.
Okay.
right? Because the
I
big thing
vaguely
was that
remember that.
the bay doors were facing the residential neighborhood, which was another big deal.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Section.
Second.
So do we want to vote to omit W2?
No, we'll vote on it.
Okay.
So the first one, Jason, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a second on W1?
Yeah, Kathy.
Okay, sorry.
W2.
Make a motion in the affirmative to grant the waiver from 650-24-2A from impervious lot coverage.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the site plan and special site plan and special permit for the commercial building with parking and office space at 1 Beacon Street with the conditions as listed.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And last but not least, I'll make a motion to authorize Mr. Wigglesworth to sign the decision on my behalf.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Do we have any engineering updates?
I don't know if we're gonna talk about anything.
Um,
Ann had the strict, if it's not on the agenda, you can't talk about it.
Well, if there's something specific you want to put it on the agenda for next time, you want to, you know?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think I really have anything. I know that, was it Yakko thing? The as-built plan?
Just updating.
So the, 138 East Main, the Yakko Dunkin' Donuts that we're talking about the signage for tonight. So their as-built plan, they finally submitted their revised as-built plan, but I haven't heard anything on the lighting. So they installed lighting that was different from the approved plan. And so I asked them, okay, so what are you guys gonna do about this? You can install lighting for the approved plan, or, provide a
New plan with
new
the light.
lighting plan that shows that the lighting that you installed, works per the regulations. So I haven't gotten anything on that yet. So,
Is there a deadline?
well, do I answer?
Too much discussion, we can't do too much discussion. It's just updating the board as to that's how.
Okay.
Later, though, I know that drive-through signage works because there was 4 people there when I was coming from a meeting tonight. So I know they have the signage there is sufficient.
Yeah, I was there this morning. I had to look at a couple things, and there was quite a few people going through Dunkin' Donuts.
Everybody always finds a Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yeah.
No sign.
Gas station because it's on the opposite side of the road.
Directional signs. where the drive-through.
No.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, so as far as staff update for you guys, I just have one thing. The administration is asking all department heads to ask their boards for a representative for the master plan, strategic plan subcommittee for the town, as well as we're trying to get a CPA exploratory committee together. So, I need to supply names. Is there? I know you guys
CPA is,
already volunteer quite a bit.
So what is it gonna be?
They haven't decided the schedule yet, but if someone is interested in the master plan, strategic plan subcommittee, it's probably gonna be maybe 7 meetings over the next year. So, so if someone's interested in that, anybody?
I might be able to do it.
Okay, all right. I just,
Pencil me in for that.
Kelly Lyman will email, I'll give her your information and
Okay.
she'll email you the information. And then for
I don't
the,
need any special training or anything like that.
no,
Good, good.
actually, it's actually paramount that someone from this board is on that
Okay.
committee, so.
A lot of brainstorming, a lot of ideas.
Yeah, it was fun, I like those.
And
I used
then
to do that.
the CPA Exploratory Committee, probably half those meetings over the next year, so if anyone is interested in, I'm trying to get CPA,
What is CPI?
Community Preservation Act.
Oh.
So basically what that is, the state has a program so that the exploratory committee will say, all right, you know what? We're gonna pitch it to the taxpayers that a 0.5% increase on your property tax will go into a special fund. And if it's 0.5%, the state will match the 0.5%, or it'll be 1% or 2%. So the more wealthy towns do 2%, other towns like us where the demographic is different, they probably looking at 0.5% or 1%. And so what you can use that for is for affordable housing, community preservation things, you know, like fixing up town hall or historical property. Or if there is, you know, farm or parcel of land that we want to try to protect and save it as recreational property, you can utilize that money for that.
That'll be good.
So is anyone interested in joining that?
How often does that meet now?
I don't know when it's gonna be meeting, but if you're interested, I can put you on that list and Kelly Lyman can reach out.
Okay, I put my name on.
Rick will be very happy, thank you. And then as you can see, with just my other announcement is we're definitely reaching into spring here, everyone's thinking of the project, so. I appreciate everyone with attendance and communications.
Well, again,
The snow is, it's been difficult. So that's all.